What is the day today? It's Wednesday? It's Wednesday. Ginger in my kitchen. Apologies because I jogged and then ran out of time and was, doing the stuff. And this is what it looks like when you jog through your run makeup. Anyway, so excited to have you in the kitchen because we've got a great virtual Ginger's Cook Club. This one is going to be extra special for any Outlander fans out there because we have the one and only Graham McTavish going to join us. And this is the cool part, right? Graham and Sam Hewen from Outlander both are going to be starring in a new Stars show. It is called Men in Kilts, a road trip with Graham and Sam. It's Sam and Graham, right? We'll have to ask him because he's going to join us. He's going to come in here. And also, what better to multitask, cook, talk about your new show, and really stretch somebody's abilities? I know for me, at least this time. Hi, Graham. How are you?
Fine. I tell you, anybody that knows me, it is a complete miracle that I am able to do this. No, seriously, you have no idea. I've been pacing like a wild animal, worrying that I'll be able to connect with you. Sam will be laughing as I am doing this.
Yeah, no, Sam was already saying that he was giving you, a number already, saying that you don't cook for yourself ever. I assume
this is not true.
Mm-hmm.
This is not true. I cook for myself every night. Well, not every night.
Okay, not every night. None of us do every single night, probably.
No.
But so excited. Just to set everybody up. Number one,
Yes.
How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm okay. Yeah, no, I'm feeling good. I'm
Good.
feeling good. A little bit apprehensive about my cooking being broadcast to the world. Not something that I'm typically used to.
Yeah. The beauty of this is that not only do we get to be casual and cook and talk about Men in Kilts, which we will, but there is
Yes.
a little button on the bottom left of the screen, and our friends that are on with us here have the opportunity to post their questions, and then I'll go ahead and choose, and you'll get to answer some of those too. So we throw another wild card in here.
Cool.
Why not? But let's
Cool.
start out.
Absolutely. More than happy.
You're in New Zealand, right?
I am in New Zealand. It's 9:30 in the morning here.
Yes, and so I wanted to make sure. We are making a salmon dish, but I wake up so early that by 9:30 in my morning, I'm eating salmon. So I don't know about
Are you?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's impressive. Salmon is not typically my morning dish. No.
Yeah.
Smoked salmon.
Yes.
Smoked salmon. Yes, Scottish smoked salmon. But this will be poached in the oven.
Right.
Yes.
And I can't wait. So you're going to share with me your salmon dish. But before we get to that, I just want to ask a couple of quick questions because this was the news today. Wait, you can't see there. There we are. Men in Kilts, a road trip with Sam and Graham. I mean, people have been waiting. They've been waiting for this news. There's something, if you guys are watching and you're not familiar, Outlander fans have something called Droughtlander that they go through. And it is the waiting time between seasons. We just got another glimpse of you in the last season. So I'll, skip the Outlander stuff. Tell me about Men in Kilts. You see these pictures of you two and they are charming.
They barely scratch the surface as to how insane this show has been. Sam and I have known each other obviously for many, many years, and we talked for a while about trying to do something together outside of Outlander. Mm-hmm. And I have a huge interest in Scottish history and culture, and so does Sam. Sam's interest as well is in the landscape and mountain climbing and everything. And I was talking to him in this kitchen, in fact. Mm-hmm. I was talking to him about the idea of doing it, and he said, we should do something together. Little did I know that this would then lead to me being basically placed in perilous situations on an almost daily basis by Sam.
Like, that's not what you signed up for. You wanted to learn more about history.
No, yes, I was all happy about the history. Nobody mentioned a tandem bicycle, a kayak, rowing a boat across a loch, going...
Sam driving you in an RV, which we didn't get in the piece this morning, but when we talked, I remember you were telling me the RV is not big.
No, it's the size of a shoebox. Yes. It's a shoebox on wheels. Yes.
A shoebox on wheels, but that is what you mostly traveled in, I assume, and spent time in?
We did, and really to describe what Sam was doing as driving is really stretching the definition of that word. It was more that he was present in the driving seat while I was white knuckle gripping the dashboard, hoping that he wasn't going to kill us. He crashed the gears so many times. I'm amazed that we didn't actually have to change out the entire engine.
It wasn't automatic?
No, no. Oh, no, no. No. Remember the first time we got in the van, I was feeling a little the worse for wear. We'd had a bit of a night before, and Sam was at that night before, but he seemed fine. He was very, very perky. And he said, oh, I'll drive. And of course, I assumed that he had driven one of these things before, that I assumed that he was familiar with stick shift.
Yeah.
No.
So that was the why not? Why not? You probably were in some rolling hills and really challenging terrain too. Oh,
roads that were so narrow you could barely thread a needle through them. They were. Yeah.
I'm surprised Stars let you guys do that.
It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Men in Kilts.
Yeah. Well, we tried to keep that quiet. But
yeah. Okay. They didn't get it until they saw the GoPro footage later, and they were like, "Oh no."
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so while let's go ahead and start cooking. This is Graham McTavish. If you are not familiar, he is not a chef, but he is one of the stars of Outlander, and now a new show on Stars, and you can see it on the Stars app coming up. I think it's really important for people to know you're not a chef, but I think this is a dish that I would make regularly too. Tell me how you're going to do it and what we're making.
Okay, it's salmon. It's poached salmon. Let me just, I'll just maneuver my camera. So there's your salmon, and here is my salmon. There's my salmon. And this is New Zealand salmon, alpine salmon. So I get this from the local fish shop. So what I'm doing, it's so simple. Even I can do it. You just get the salmon, put it in some tin foil. You get a lemon.
Okay.
You get pepper, and you get butter. So,
what was the last one?
Butter. You have to have butter. I know this is very, very, very sort of unfashionable these days to cook with butter, but I love butter.
I've got some.
So, let me get.
If I ever step away from the camera, don't worry.
As best I could, but I'm here on my own at the moment, so. Mind you, I can't blame my children, which is a little annoying.
Now,
I'm putting a little bit of butter. Children? Oh, my children are 13, nearly 14, and my youngest has just turned 8. We had her birthday party last weekend.
Is this a meal that they would eat as well?
I've got to be honest. It's the fish thing. It's a little difficult with the kids.
Yeah.
I wish. I mean, when I was growing up. I just ate what was put in front of me.
Right.
There was no debate. There was no like, I don't really feel like eating liver tonight. No, it was, that's your dinner. Whereas nowadays, I'm afraid I have slightly fallen into the trap that a lot of parents have of accommodating the tastes of my children. So they're getting better, and they have eaten this, but I wouldn't say they eat it regularly.
And it's not their first choice, probably.
It's not the first choice on the menu, no.
Okay, so I've got a couple of pieces of salmon in, and do you just take the pads of butter? How are you doing that?
Well, I literally just cut a little bit off, and it's very kind of approximate when I'm doing these things. So, and then I take the lemon, and I just slice the lemon.
Okay.
Here I am. I'm just slicing the lemon, and then I just squeeze it over the salmon, basically.
Great.
Very, very easy. Just squeeze it like that.
I've got one of these handy little guys.
Ooh, you see?
How about that?
You've got a really well-equipped kitchen, haven't you? You really have. I know it. I'm faking it completely here. So I do have an actual pepper grinder, which so I'm not actually grinding it with my hands. So here's the pepper. A little bit of pepper, and then what I do is now I may just just take the thing. So I take the edges, and then I just bring them together. So
Yeah.
I'll have to put that back.
And what's your oven on?
My oven is at 180 degrees centigrade. So I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, because it's so long since I've dealt with that. So I get the tin foil. Or do you call it tin foil? No, you don't, do you?
I do. Yeah,
you do?
aluminum foil, tin foil. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. So I just fold it at the top to create like a little parcel for the fish. So it has a little bit of room, and then I just sort of twist the ends so that it's a nice seal, so you don't get anything going in from the outside.
Yeah.
And there it is.
Nice.
It's not, yeah. I mean,
that's simple.
I eat very simply. I eat fish a lot. I eat, sometimes I eat meat, maybe once a week. But my diet is mainly fish and rice and vegetables. Yeah. So it's pretty.
We're big on
pretty
fish
basic.
too.
So that's the fish. Now the rice, I'm very approximate in my rice cooking. So I don't have anything flash like a rice cooker or anything like that. Here is a little tiny cup. It's a little tiny cup. And then I just fill it halfway with rice. It's so I can't believe I'm doing this.
No, I love it.
No. So, and then I just put it into the pan.
Yes.
I put half the cup into the pan, and then I'll just fill this with, and then I fill the same cup with cold water. Pour that into the rice, and then I put a little bit of butter in there, because you can never have too much butter in cooking. And I put that in, and then I turn on my oven, my hob, and I set it to the maximum, and then I get my lid. Where's my lid gone? See, I really was trying to look as though I was prepared.
So far, you're doing it.
Am I?
The beauty gram is, this is what people want to see. They want to know they want to be in your kitchen. So it doesn't matter what you do. Showing us that
They're
little
in my
mug,
kitchen.
you know.
Yeah. I know. It's just, what am I doing? So I've put the saucepan on full heat, just to get it boiling. Yeah. And then once it's boiling, I'll turn it down to simmer for about 25 minutes.
What kind of rice are you using? Is it like jasmine, or what do you got?
It's brown rice. It's brown rice. Yeah. And then once that's going, I will wait for a little bit, and then I put the salmon in for 18 minutes. Okay. I've got to know my oven pretty well, so I know that 18 minutes it'll be nice. I don't like the fish to be too dry. I mean, some people like it really, really, really super cooked through. I don't. I like it to have that moist quality to it, so that you can really taste the fish, and so it's 18 minutes seems to do it for me. And then the only other thing missing at the moment is just some broccoli, and all I do is, there's the broccoli, beautifully presented in my white bowl here. It's lovely. Oh look, there you go. And all I do now, I do have a steamer.
Look at that. No measuring cup, but you have a steamer.
No, I haven't finished yet. I do have a steamer. It's right over there. It's very exotic. I've never used it. So,
it just sits there like a piece of art.
Like many things in my life that involve any kind of technological accomplishment, I'm just kind of frightened of them. So instead, I'm just going to boil some water in a pan, and then I'm going to put the broccoli in for about 4 minutes.
Oh, you like it?
I'll never be. Yeah, God, this is just terrible, really. Okay, I'm going to put some water in there. Here you go.
It's not terrible. This is all we
No,
want in our
no.
life.
Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, it tastes good. It tastes
So,
good. That's...
Graham, while you're filling that up, I'll start doing a couple of the questions, if that's all right with you.
Yes, please do.
We've got one here from Al. What is your favorite place in Scotland? Maybe something that you saw on the show.
Oh, gosh. Honestly, I get asked this question a lot, and it's very hard. It's very hard to pick one. Of the places that Sam and I went to, oh, gosh. I mean, we went to some amazing castles, I have to be honest. Cawdor Castle, Castle Leard, which is the Mackenzie Castle.
Oh,
Obviously,
that one. So all of it, we stopped at a couple of them on my tour when I did the show. And obviously, because I'm very into the show, it meant even more. But just the structures themselves, even if you had no attachment to the show, are
astonishing.
Unreal. Yeah.
Astonishing. That one in particular, one of the things I loved about it is the approach to the castle, Castle Leard, is just beautiful. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful. Tree lined. And you turn a corner and there's this extraordinary, there are three, now Sam will correct me on this, but I believe they were holly trees.
Okay.
Maybe. Anyway, they were planted.
Is he quite the arborist? Is that why? Is he?
Yeah, he's the nature guy. They were planted by Mary de Guise, who was Mary Queen of Scots' mother. Okay. Those trees were planted. And one of them is in the front of the castle, and it's dead now. But what's happened to it is that it's completely white. It looks like the Whomping Willow from Harry Potter.
How beautiful.
It's unbelievable. And there's one that is still surviving, and it's been there for 500 or 600 years. Yeah. And those things alone, the entrance to the castle. So if you do get the chance, it's near Inverness. If you get the chance, that is a castle well worth visiting.
Certainly worth it.
It's beautiful.
And would you say, I don't know if you saw this morning or earlier today, I cooked with Sam, and it's like the last thing. You don't want him to be so perfect, but I'm going to tell you, that guy like layered a dessert like he had been doing it his whole life. And I was like,
stop it.
Yes, I mean, seriously, stop it.
I can't bear it. He's literally morphing into Jamie Fraser,
right.
who is just perfect at everything apart from winking. And what's the other thing he can't do? I don't know. Tap dance, something.
Yeah.
There are literally two things that Jamie Fraser can't do, whereas the rest of us mere mortals, just, So he was layering a dessert. I hate him.
He was layering, and I'm telling you, it was to the point where he held his up after I held mine up. I was very proud. I thought it looked all right. His looked like someone else made it and handed it to him. That's how good it looked. But I watched him make it, so. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So
and what's really annoying is when he spoke to me about this, he said, "Oh yeah, mate, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'll just hope for the best." And it's typical
Sam.
Yes.
Are you going to get another cameo on the new season, Carol? Going for the questions.
Wow. Well, I can't comment on anything. So my life now, especially, this has been going on for the last few years now. Anything that you do as an actor these days, it seems, you can never speak about until it comes out. So you're constantly signing non-disclosure agreements, and they probably have cameras in this room now, just making sure that I don't comment on anything. So there are 2 or 3 things that I have in the pipeline that I can't speak about, and it's very odd. It's a very sort of strange kind of secretive world.
I would say so. And then you have, but the nice part is you do have a show you can talk about today, and that is Men in Kilts, which is great.
Absolutely.
I know that.
Yes.
Tell me when I'm supposed to put my salmon in the oven. You can cut me off anytime, but we'll just ask a couple more questions because people are so happy to have you with us.
I should be paying attention to the timing. So the rice is now simmering. So it's been simmering for about 20. So it'll be 25 minutes. Yeah. Sometimes with the rice. So let me just work out the timing. 25. So 5. I'm going to put the salmon in about 7 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, good. Then we have some good question time. That's great. Because there's some really fun ones in here, I see.
Oh, good.
Let's see. There's so many great ones. Oh, how about, I just went past it though. Someone said just Ghost Dougal with a question mark.
Ghost Dougal. You never know. He's the kind of person that would return as a ghost. Yes.
What have you been reading during this isolation time, and what books
Oh,
have
I've
you
been
read,
reading
or
a
what
lot.
book?
Yeah, I'm reading a lot. I'm reading at the moment. I'm reading about Vikings. I'm a
Vikings.
big history buff, so I love anything to do with history. And Vikings, the world of the Viking, obviously impacted hugely on Scotland as well because they occupied the western side of Scotland, the Western Isles, Shetland as well, Orkney, the Caithness, which is that bit right at the top, up until around, I think, about the 15th century. So they were there for a very long time. The Danes, as they were called. In fact, most of them were actually from Norway. But yeah, so I'm reading all about that. It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating how they impacted the lives of so many people.
That's something that I have not done a lot of research on. I apologize. My dog was just growling at something, and I have no
Oh,
idea.
no,
Wanted to make sure we weren't being broken into as we went here.
Yeah.
This
So
one
yeah,
is.
Vikings. What else have I been reading? Oh gosh,
Are we?
I've
Oh, I
certainly been
like
getting
this
through the
one.
books.
Graham, are we going to learn about your own family's clan histories when we see many Celts? Hold on.
Yes,
You tell us.
yes, you are. You're definitely going to get some of that coming into the show. I was very interested to discover. I have a book of the muster roll, which is essentially the names of everybody that were enlisted in Bonnie Prince Charlie's army. It's a wonderful book called no what is it called? No Quarter? Oh, I can't remember now. It's terrible. Anyway, it's the muster roll of Culloden, and there are 14 McTavishes listed as people that were at the battle who eventually surrendered.
For the dog barking. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Don't
Do you know
worry.
what it is
Don't worry.
that's that he's barking at? Is the pool floats, which are just frightening out there. You know, those
I
ones.
find them very frightening too. Yeah, I'm always very scared of pool floats.
Okay, my
I
husband's
understand.
got him, so please keep going on because I want to learn
That's okay.
about the clans. Yes.
Well, yeah. So the McTavishes, there were members of the clan that were present, and they actually, by strange coincidence, they were part of the Fraser group that were going into battle. So the Frasers of Lovat had McTavishes with them when they attacked, which is an extraordinary thought, isn't it? Yeah, just all that time ago that those names were connected.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
So
how, I mean, even when
we're
Diana
there.
did her research to do the names and, you know, just to have that connection is very unique. Let's see, this one's good. What character have you played that you've most identified with? Because somebody asked this morning, they asked Sam if you were very Dougal-like, and he said that you're becoming more Dougal-like because you're grumpy.
See, this is what happens when you get to know somebody too well. Yes, I am. Well, I wouldn't say grumpy exactly, but I do have things that just irritate me a little bit. Anybody that knows me knows my ability to rant about stuff. And Sam's definitely been on the receiving end of some of those. But the character I most identify with, that is very difficult. I would, the truthful answer is that any character that you play, whether they're good or bad or in the middle, contains something of yourself, inevitably, because you are the person playing it, and you draw upon your own feelings and your own past and your own way of expressing those feelings in the character. So in the case of Dougal, There are characteristics of Dougal that I definitely share. And when I was doing the role, similarly, when I did the role of Dwalin in The Hobbit, that people might remember, I drew on my father. There are definitely aspects of those two guys, a very particular kind of Scottish man, they're quite sort of strict in terms of what they think is right and wrong. And if you're their friend, they're incredibly loyal to you and they'll look after you and defend you. But if you're not their friend,
you're over. Yeah, and I feel like that type of they're very black and white. I assume in that way where there is no back and forth. Yeah, and that's my husband is that way, and I am the grayest when it comes to everything. I'm very so.
Oh,
I
really?
think
Interesting. Yeah.
He kind of gives me those boundaries. I've learned a lot on how to be that way, but
yeah, I'm very intolerant of certain kinds of behavior, rudeness, bad manners. Just things that are kind of old-fashioned, I suppose. I mean, I am old-fashioned in quite a lot of ways. Like they're very much like my father because, my father was born in 1922. And he fought in the Second World War, and his own father was born during the Victorian era. And I met my grandfather, so I have a direct link of only just my grandparents who were Victorians. So there's some of that I still carry around with me in a way that perhaps somebody who's younger than me, like Sam, doesn't. So yeah.
How was it punching Richard Rankin?
It was so great. It was so great. Sometimes I just punched him when we weren't even filming, just to keep my hand in. I'm going to put the salmon in the oven now.
Okay, I'm doing it too. As we put the salmon in the oven, I asked all the actors there when I was there, but I thought that the Gaelic language is different than what you speak. So was that difficult? Was it fun to practice? Tell us about that experience.
Yes. Now in Scots, it's Gaelic. In Irish, it's Gaelic.
Apologize.
I always need to correct people on that one.
No, please
I'm just very picky. I'm very picky.
Should be.
No, it was difficult. Yes, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
There are sounds that are made in the Gaelic language that are not natural to native English speakers. It's more akin to Dutch in its sound. Lots of kind of those whatever you want to call those sounds.
I'm Dutch. My father grew up in Rotterdam, so my Oma is from Rotterdam, and they lived there. She was 40 when she came over.
Wow. Do you speak Dutch?
I don't, but I understand some, but I don't speak it enough. So, but they were,
It sounds so unusual when you hear it. And the same with Gaelic. When you hear somebody who really speaks Gaelic, like Gillibrige Macmillan, who played the Bard in Outlander and a beautiful musician, a fantastic guy. When he starts speaking in the Gaelic, it's got that sing-song element to it. It's really beautiful to listen to. But for me, I think I speak for all of us, actually. I'm pretty sure Sam was the same. We learnt it phonetically. So we would sit down with Agav, who was our Gaelic coach, and would go through everything that we needed to do. My very Gaelic heavy episode was, I think, Rent, which was in the first season, where I had huge speeches that I had to deliver in Gaelic. Right. And I have to say, and this is about Agav, which is beautiful, and he worked really, really hard. I did one speech that was particularly long, and at the end of it, he came up to me with tears in his eyes. He said, "It's so amazing to hear my language spoken like this, that millions of people will see probably for the first time." And I've never forgotten that. I was very touched by that, because I was just like getting through it. I was just thinking, God, please, I just don't want to mess this up. But it was deeply meaningful to him.
But you did it well enough that was that deeply meaningful. And, for the rest of us, I can attest to, I had never heard it that way. And I thought it was well, I had to put subtitles on for,
Yeah,
parts that were,
sure, sure.
but
Yeah,
I learned a
yeah,
lot, and that's the beauty.
yeah.
Someone asked how much whiskey was consumed during the filming of Men in Kilts.
Oh my God. Well, okay.
Estimate.
It, well, it, a lot, but I would start the answer to that question by explaining that one of the first days we filmed, we went to a beautiful inn at the top of Glencoe, which is this incredible glen, very famous for an awful massacre that happened there in 1692. And we were there doing all our filming, and we went to this pub at 9 in the morning, 9 in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a chap from the Scottish Malt Whisky Society there doing a tasting for us of
Uh-oh.
6 different malt whiskies.
Yeah.
9 in the morning. I was
Yeah. So
destroyed. I
I
was
bet.
destroyed. But delicious though. Oh, so
Good.
good. Yeah, so we drank a lot of whiskey. Yeah, yeah.
And Sam, I liked this when we spoke. We didn't get to share it in the piece either, and you kind of alluded to it earlier. You said he also has this habit of just being. He'll wake up after that long day or night when you are just so hungover and ravished, and he's like, "Good
Oh, I know.
morning."
He's like a Springer Spaniel.
Yeah.
Similar coloring. Just really deeply annoying when you have a
Yeah.
hangover that you're around somebody for whom it seems to have had no effect whatsoever. He'll have a cup of coffee and he's good to go. He's
That's
got
right. No
so much
coffee
energy,
necessary.
Sam. I'm just getting the lid to this.
Yes, please. And I was told also, someone reminded me here that I was to ask
Hmm.
you about Duncan LaCroix cooking for you.
Oh, yes, Duncan. Yes, Duncan Lacroix is.
Oh,
He's yes, no, and no. He's a wonderful man, and he very kindly joined us for the first day that we were. Well, the night before we started, he was at the hotel,
okay.
and that explains why I was in such a bad way the next day.
His fault.
Entirely, entirely. I mean, Duncan's come on holiday. Duncan and I have had sort of bro weekends together. When we were filming
Mm-hmm.
Outlander, we would go to different European cities and have a sort of lovely weekend of eating great food. And he's the most delightful company. Very funny, very, very funny man. But between him and Sam, I was somewhat left behind in terms
Yeah.
of the drinking. I've got to be honest. It was tough. It was tough. But Duncan was great, and you'll see him in the show. He
And
makes an
Duncan
appearance.
is basically your chef, because now I see Sam Hewen may be with us on this live.
Oh, for God's sake! Can he not just leave me alone? He's it's oh dear. What I'm not even going to read anything that he says because it will just enrage me.
I didn't see
Okay.
the comments because I've been so focused on the stories and making sure I got to the questions. And then I saw one of the questions said, "I hope you realize Sam's here trolling Graham in the comments."
Trolling. Yes. Ah, that's going to be my new name for him. The
Yeah.
Ginger Troll. Yes.
Said nobody else ever, right? Uh, so far, the salmon's beginning to smell like in a good
Yep.
way,
Yep.
not in a bad way.
Yes. Yes. In a good
And I
way.
believe
Yes.
my rice is going to be done a little sooner because I have a sushi rice that the kids really love.
Oh, yeah. My rice. I have to be honest. My rice. Yeah. It takes a little bit longer, and no, but it's cool. It's cool. It'll be
No,
great. And then
listen, we've got, if you're okay with time, I'm good here because I love asking the questions. And it's so fun because
yeah, yeah.
this type of interaction, the ability to have, not only to be personal and be in someone's kitchen, it just allows you to kind of lay back in a 3-minute interview on TV or a 2-minute
Oh, I
interview.
know.
You
Totally.
can't get into it. And I love to have these
No,
conversations where we actually get a
no.
chance to learn about you and about, everything we want to do. So do you
Yes.
do you have a favorite Scotch whiskey or favorite Scotch?
Well, I sort of move, and I'm by no means the expert that Sam is, because Sam really does have a really profound understanding of whiskey, and it's amazing actually. But I sort of move around between favorites. So
Okay.
currently, my favorite is a whiskey from the fifth region in Scotland that makes whiskey. I actually thought there were only four: Highlands,
Okay.
Islands, Lowlands, and Highlands, Islands, Lowlands, and Speyside. But there is a fifth, which is from an area called Campbellton. And that is a sort of mix between Highland and Island in terms of its flavors. And Springbank is the one that I've discovered recently, which is just delicious.
Springbank.
Really, really. Springbank. Yeah, Springbank. Yeah,
And
really nice.
if we were to, because I don't know the difference between Highlands and Islands, what is the flavor profile, or what would we taste, or what's the
Well,
difference that we would smell?
the island's whiskey is particularly known for its peatiness, that sort of smoky
Mm,
flavor. Some of them can be really powerful, very strong, and some people love them. I mean, some of the more famous ones are like Lafroig, Ardbeg. They have a very, very strong peaty profile in terms of their flavor, and so that's just sort of offset by the Highland profile, which is a little more smooth.
okay,
It's not so kind of in your face.
got
I
it.
mean, I love Island whiskey, I really do, but this one, it just takes the edge off it a little bit,
Hmm.
which I like.
What did you learn about Sam during that journey on Men in Kilts that you did not know before?
So much that I wish I'd never had
Give
back.
us what.
Yeah.
Wish you had that
No,
time back.
I'll never get it back. He's taken it from me. No, I actually, well, lots of things. Lots of things. I learned, well, I already knew he had a very strong work ethic,
Mhm.
which I'm very admiring of. And I knew that from Outlander. But he really worked very, very, very hard on Men in Kilts. He was filming Outlander at the same time on some occasions. And so it was very, very demanding for him. So I developed a great admiration for his ability to function
Yeah,
as well as he did. Also, I learned about his driving. That wasn't so great.
wasn't the
Uh,
best.
yeah, there were just yeah. I think he got deliberately lost.
Hmm.
I actually think he did it deliberately, just to wind me up, because I would be telling him, no, 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 we need to turn right here, and he would just sail on as if he hadn't heard me.
Did they take
Um,
Siri away from you guys? Like you didn't have Google Maps, or what was happening there?
well, yeah, there was what could pass as a GPS going on,
Mm.
but the problem with especially the Highlands of Scotland is that it's very remote. Those roads are
Mhm.
very, very narrow. So by the time your GPS has said you need to turn right, you've missed it
Okay.
basically.
Now,
So
I guess on here, I didn't see this either. As Sam's challenging you, he'd like to hear you speak Gaelic.
what? I'm not even going to say the words that are forming in my mind right now. Uh, okay, okay. Alba Gabra. There you go.
Ah,
Alba
Alba,
Gabra, which means Scotland forever.
Scotland.
And of course, Tulachard, which is the Mackenzie war cry, which is, I don't know what the Fraser war cry is. It's probably something like, oh, let's get a coffee, or I don't know, something like that. Something that Jamie Fraser would shout. But
Mm-hmm.
the Mackenzie war cry is Tulachard, and that
Tulachard.
is Gaelic as well. Now, that actually is a Gaelic place name.
Mm-hmm.
So traditionally, the war cries of clans related to a high point in their land. So, for instance, the McTavish war cry is Cruach Moor, and that is an area in Argyll that they come from. And similarly with the Mackenzies, Tulachard is an area, I believe, in Kintail, which is part of the Mackenzie land. So that's my Gaelic for you.
I feel
I'm
like
sure
I'm
Sam could
listening to a
do more.
professor of Scotland, and I love it. I love learning about it because after only
I'm a
one
good
visit,
bluffer.
like so many people, after one visit, I need to go back. Here's a really important one.
Oh, yeah.
When we see Men in Kilts, do you plan on doing a TikTok dance with Sam? Because he's
You
really into
see
TikTok dancing now.
who Sam is?
Yeah, did you see
Sam?
his TikTok dance? It's almost as good
Okay.
as his dance in Outlander.
I'm just going to put my broccoli in now, which will
Okay.
be for about 5 minutes. But yeah. Now, okay. You have to understand that essentially you're talking to some kind of relic from, another age. I don't even really know what TikTok is. So it's a dance.
Yeah,
It's a
well,
dance.
it's a
So you sort of
musical. Yeah, that's
do
it.
that and then,
That's it.
yeah,
You've just
yeah.
done it. And I think he did one. He had kind of a arm going, I'm sure he'll teach it to you. Don't worry.
Well, it's sort of doing this.
Yeah.
Is he
Is
doing
that his
that?
go-to dance move?
Yeah, he would do that all the time, every morning, at dinner, yeah, constantly TikToking.
I
But
think
I didn't know that about him, no.
so. I think this one is, because people are so attached, and many people have watched Outlander several times. I mean, they've seen that's what they do with the Droughtlander time is they watch the seasons again. That it's
Yes.
really important to know which scene was your favorite to film,
Oh,
and tell us a story about it or why.
again, very difficult.
Hmm.
It's very difficult. I excuse me. I think probably my favorite, well, I have many, many, many favorites, but I think my favorite was probably the very last scene that I did, which was not my death, which I'm sure Sam would like to say was my last scene, because him and his wife were murdering me during it.
Right.
I actually have a photo of them smiling while they were doing it from my phone. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Laughing. But my favorite one was the last scene that I filmed, and it was also Gary Lewis's last scene, which was the death of Colin in season 2. And I mean, it was a hard scene to shoot because we were, it was very emotional, and but for me, what I drew upon, I lost my father, oh gosh, 12, 13 years ago now. But one of the things that I've carried with me since he died is all of the things I wish I could have said to him, and still do. Things that I would wish that I could ask him, things that I could tell him. And in that scene with Gary, there was a lot of that in the background, a feeling of, what do you do when you're with somebody and you know that this is the last time you're going to see them, and that you take the opportunity to, well, confess, to really communicate something meaningful to them. And of course, the tragedy in that scene is that Colin dies while I'm telling him the truth, and he never hears it. And that's what's very tragic about it. So that really resonated for me. And I think it resonates for anybody that's lost anybody in their lives. It doesn't matter what kind of a relationship you have with them. There are always things that you wish you could either tell them now or wish you'd told them while they were alive. So that was a big one for me. Yeah.
I think that's a great lesson to keep in our lives too, to remain open and
absolutely
able to have that discourse, even if we're in if there is a part of our relationship. I think about that with my father often. I need to have more. You need to have more.
Don't put it off. It's actually one of the things that I've really enjoyed about, enjoyed maybe, but found during the period that we've been going through with the quarantining and the lockdown, is that it's made me connect more with certain people than I had been up till then. Even members of my own family, my brother and sister, friends, and you really feel the value of it. It's
and the slowdown, right? I mean, I'm sure just like all of us, we were running, traveling, doing all this, and then when the world stops you from doing that, it really turns you inward and makes you not just cook at home, but to do a lot. I know my pieces of salmon are smaller, so I'm assuming mine are going to be done soon.
Yeah, mine are just done now.
Okay,
so I'm turning that off. I'm going to bring it out of the oven. Let me find my glove. Oh yeah, that's hot. Yep. Oh, there we go.
And I do have one more
It
question.
looks exactly the same as when it went in, of course, because it's still in the foil. It has been cooking, honestly.
Can you see the questions here on the bottom? Are you able to see?
Oh, yes. Sam said he doesn't know how. Oh, gosh, it's going so fast.
No, you can't
I'm
see
so
the
hungry.
questions. So no, this question,
No.
who would win, Dougal or Dwalin? Am I saying that wrong?
Yeah, people love
Love the
asking this
question.
question. Um, well, Dwalin's got a very low center of gravity. So being a dwarf, very strong, very powerful, very tenacious.
Hmm.
It depends. In a fair fight, Dwalin would probably win, but I don't think Dougal
Would be
would
fair.
let it be a fair fight.
So this is my salmon.
Oh, wow.
How's
Oh,
that look?
yours looks so much better than mine. Hold on. Okay, let me show you mine. Let me show
Yes,
you
please.
mine. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes.
There you go.
Oh yeah, no, you've
There it
got
is.
more time.
There you go. So it's I'm gonna check on the rice. I'm
Okay.
gonna just hold on. Let me get my colander. I can't believe I'm doing this at this
Graham,
time in the
that's
morning.
very
This is
good. I usually sear and then bake off. I have not done this with like the simplicity of this poaching. This is really delicious.
oh good, good. Oh, I'm really glad. That's great. That's great. I'm just turning off the oven. So I'm
Oh,
gonna get my plate.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's all
Where's your
pretty.
plate at?
Listen, uh, I'm I love eating delicious food at restaurants and everything like that. I wish I was the guy that could just have this array of ingredients and I'm just sort of throwing things in and everything. But I'm just, I mean, I've been cooking all my life,
Yeah.
university and all the rest of it. But uh, I was never a sort of chef.
Who cooked most in your family growing up?
Oh, well, my mother.
Your mother.
It was a very traditional
Mm-hmm.
family.
Mm-hmm.
My father, and these, as I say, were people that were born in the 1920s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my father, I'm just trying to dish this up without making a complete mess of it. Uh, oh, yes, and I have made a complete mess of it. There you go. Super. Marvelous. Great. I'm just going to put that in the bin.
That's
No,
fine.
in our house, my dad was it. There had to be meat with
Got
every
it.
meal,
Mm-hmm.
and it had to be visible. So you had to be able to see the meat.
The piece
So
of
when
meat.
my
Yeah.
mother gently started introducing things like spaghetti bolognese,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which was, when I was growing up, people didn't eat that kind of food. That type of meal only
Mm-hmm.
came in probably the early 70s.
Right.
Um, that moussaka, things like that. My dad would be very suspicious of those meals because you couldn't properly see the meat. It was all just blended together. So he would get a little bit like, "Where's the meat?"
Yeah.
But he got over it because my mum was a great cook.
But
She was a great cook. She Every meal she made just effortlessly delicious.
mm,
I mean, I have to say, I took it completely for granted. I just thought, oh, another wonderful meal.
sure.
Not not realizing, of course, that my mother had probably been preparing it all afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of what my mother did, um, oh, here's the rice. When I think what my mother did on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
astonishing.
It
And
is,
she couldn't
right?
have a car. She couldn't drive, my mother. So I'm just dishing the rice up here.
Yes,
Here's my
please.
rice. Here we go.
Looks
Whoop.
good.
Oh God, lots of steam. Um, yeah, she couldn't drive, so she had to walk everywhere or get the bus.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember we would walk like 2 miles to the shops to get food. But yeah, I mean that's just what life was like. It
And
wasn't.
and would you say that you had a favorite dish growing up, and or maybe like a memory of a favorite dish, kind of coming home and
Well,
saying,
yeah, I have to say, I just mentioned actually moussaka. Her moussaka was amazing. It had double cream in it as part of
"Oh
the,
yeah,
the topping. Oh, it was so good. That, and if that was followed by her apple crumble, her homemade apple crumble.
Oh, wow.
Oh, just so
Yeah.
good. Yeah, there's lots and lots of things I miss about my mother, and having dinner with her is one of them.
Yeah.
But so this is my, I'm just going to make this look a little better because
Mine's falling apart a little bit, but it does look pretty good. And
I'm just going to turn the fish over so that it's, there you go. All right, so there is mine.
Nice. That looks beautiful.
Well, it's not bad. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
I think I'm just going to test the broccoli.
Okay. And you don't
yeah.
put anything on the broccoli really to season?
I know. I'm not a big seasoner. My kids love putting salt on everything. I've never been a big salt guy. But I mean, nothing on the broccoli. I've got butter, obviously, on the rice. Pepper, butter, and lemon on the fish, and I probably maybe just grind a little bit more pepper on there as well.
I think Sam said Philistine.
Philistine? You called me a Philistine?
Philistine.
So insulting. So insulting. Philistine. Goodness me, that's rich coming from him. Good God. Right.
And here it was, me just mispronouncing it all.
No. Yeah. Yes. Well, all I can say is I look forward to the day that Sam cooks me dinner. Yeah. I'm not going to hold my breath.
When you both do that, please put a camera on it for all of us because we would adore that.
I will.
Graham, this has been so fun, and the best part has been listening to your stories and hearing from you, learning about your family, and especially just getting everyone more and more excited about Men in Kilts. I know
thank you.
It's going to be available on Stars and the Stars app, and that's going to happen sometime this year, we know, right?
That's right. We're extremely excited about it. It's honestly a lifelong dream of mine to have done something like this, and I couldn't have done it with a better person, even though he does call me a Philistine.
So Sam, also expert troll. Congratulations on being a great troll. He's even perfect at being a troll.
Yes, he is. He is. It's just, is there nothing? I'm going to find something.
I think Sam needs to send you a ring light, and then we'll all be even. It will all work out.
Exactly. Yes, I know. It's all a little dark, isn't it? Yeah.
No, it's perfect. I thank you so much for your time, Graham. And I'm going to eat this.
My pleasure,
I had a little dinner earlier, but I'm not going to be able to not eat this right now. So
fantastic. Enjoy
your day. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have fun tonight or today. You have a whole day ahead of you.
Indeed.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, Don.